Have you ever felt your chest tighten before dawn? Convinced today would break you before it even began. You wake in warmth, wrapped in soft sheets. But inside you hunger for fire, for a test that will carve strength into your bones. Most wander, in comfort, asking how to grow hard. But nothing brutal ever lives in the cradle of ease. You must step into the cold without promise, feel the bite of wind that whispers doubt, and learn how your mind bends under pressure. Picture a lone walker on a frosty path, boots sinking in ice and mud. With every shiver they face a choice, retreat to warmth or push forward into the sting. Psychologists call our pull toward comfort the negativity bias, born of our need for safety. Researchers Baumeister, Bratslavsky, Finkenauer, and Voss in 2001 showed that bad grips are stronger than good, dragging us back when we reach to climb higher. In that frozen stretch, you discover your true edge. Marcus Aurelius taught that hardship reveals character, yet few steal their will before the gale. Here, you touch the blade of your resolve, sharpening it on the grindstone of adversity, forging a part of your soul that rests in calm only after the storm. Today, answer this. Will you skirt the chill or stand amid it until the cold becomes your ally? Embrace that first dawn. Let your breath fog the air. Let every step echo in your bones. This is chapter 1 of 10, forged by the first dawn, where you learn that real strength lives not in comfort, but in the moment you choose to endure when every fiber screams to quit. Do you ever feel your spirit falter when the first chore of the day looms? As if your resolve is paper thin, each dawn brings a new list of small fights making the bed. Facing the cold shower, choosing work over idle scrolling. Weakness gathers in every unchecked box. Psychologists Baumeister and Voss showed in 1996 that our willpower is like a muscle, and decision fatigue leaves it spent and vulnerable. Fatigue isn't just physical, it's mental, and it chips away at your grit until you break. Stoics taught that greatness lives in the daily grind. Marcus Aurelius wrote that what stands in the way becomes the way, yet few sees the truth hidden in routine. Picture a blacksmith's hammer, rising and falling on glowing steel, each strike unseen until the sword is born. Your morning tasks are that hammer forging a calloused mind that won't yield when storms arrive. Ask yourself today, will you let small battles slip into defeat? Or will you meet them with steady breath and silent hunger? Embrace the monotony as your secret blade, sharpened by each early alarm and every resisted urge. This is chapter 2 of 10, Discipline in the Small Moments, where you learn that real power is born not in grand gestures, but in the steady rhythm of unbroken effort. Do you ever feel your spirit knock at the door when your muscles burn, as if the ache itself orders you to quit? In those flames of effort, fear and pain roar louder than any comfort. Yet Carol Dweck's studies in 2006 showed that people who see struggle as a step toward growth face challenges with more grit, while others fold under pressure because they equate pain with personal failure. Stoics call this moment the test of your soul. Picture a sapling in a storm, its trunk bending but never snapping. Tedeschi and Calhoun in 1996 found that hardship can spark post-traumatic growth, reshaping us into stronger versions of ourselves when we welcome the struggle instead of fleeing it. What if you turned toward that sting, felt your heart pound not with dread but with fierce curiosity? Science tells us that moderate stress what Hans Sly named eustress. In 1975 releases a surge of endorphins that sharpen focus and build resilience. This surge is your ally, not your enemy. Ask yourself today, will you recoil from every twinge? Or will you stand in the blaze until the burn becomes fuel? This is chapter 3 of 10, Power at the Edge of Pain, where you learn that true strength isn't born in ease, but in the moment you choose to press on when your body and mind scream to stop. Do you ever stand at the edge of a path that twists into fog and feel your chest tighten at the thought of not knowing what's ahead? Uncertainty and fear grip you harder than any storm, whispering that the unknown is a place of danger. Butler's work in 1960 to show that those who can't stand ambiguity see every shadow as a threat, and Carlton's 2012 studies on intolerance of uncertainty found that our minds tie knots at every loose end. Yet Stoics taught that the only real peril lies in our judgment of events, not the events themselves. Epictetus reminded us that it's not things that upset us, but our beliefs about them. Imagine a sailor launching before dawn, sails full but sky hidden. He cannot calm the sea, but he can steady his grip on the tiller and learn the patterns of the waves. When you lean into the grey, you discover hidden currents that carry you farther than smooth water ever could. Psychology calls this stress inoculation. Baum in 1985 showed that small exposures to doubt build a mind that holds firm when the real storm strikes. Each question mark you face becomes a lesson in adaptation. Each pause a chance to tune your resolve. Ask yourself today, will you shrink from every twist in the road? Or will you step forward even when the horizon vanishes? Embrace the void as your teacher. Let each unknown shape your strength, until the fog itself becomes a familiar friend rather than a foe. Do you ever feel a craving twist your gut, urging you toward a quick fix as if your worth depends on that next hit of comfort? You face small sirens each day, hitting snooze, grabbing sugar, scrolling until your eyes burn. Moravin and Baumeister's 2000 studies show that self-control is a finite resource, and once it's spent on tiny urges, temptation grows stronger, leaving you empty when real trials arrive. Stoics taught that true freedom lies in mastering the self, not indulging the moment. Seneca advised practicing negative visualization. Imagine losing your comforts, then greet them as gifts. Each time you resist the pull, you build an inner keep that weakness cannot breach. Psychologists Gross in 1998 found that reappraising a craving, viewing it as a passing wave, rather than a command, reduces its power. When you rename that itch just noise, it loses its hold. This isn't sugarcoating. It's wiring your mind to see urges for what they are, signals, not orders. Ask yourself today, will you bow to the flicker of desire? Or will you let it pass through you like wind through an oak? Embrace the pause between impulse and action as your forge. In that gap you find choice, and in choice you taste real strength. Do you ever sit in stillness and feel loneliness tighten around your mind, as if every thought echoes with doubt? Solitude often feels like a void you must flee. Yet psychology shows that quiet can become our greatest teacher. Research by Long and Aurelius in 2003 found that deliberate alone time builds resilience, helping you bounce back when life knocks you down. Avoiding silence only trains your mind to fear its own voice rather than master it. Stoics believe the inner citadel is forged in isolation. Seneca urged us to retreat into ourselves, not to escape the world, but to know our own strength. Picture a lone blacksmith in a dark forge, hammer rising and falling on red-hot steel. Each strike shapes the blade, just as each minute alone shapes your resolve. Ask yourself today, will you fill every quiet moment with distraction, or will you sit with your thoughts until they become your allies? Embrace the hush. Let each heartbeat remind you of your own presence. In that gap between noise and thought you learn self-reliance, and your spirit gains the armor that no storm can shatter. Do you ever feel your chest sink when you stumble, as if the ground beneath you has swallowed your worth? When you fail, shame hits harder than any applause ever could. Psychologist Martin Seligman discovered in 1972 that repeated setbacks can teach your mind to give up, a trap he called learned helplessness. Yet others rise because they see each fall not as proof of weakness, but as a signpost to something new. Complaining never dug a path forward, only deeper into doubt. Stoics taught that every loss carries a seed of gain. Seneca urged us to welcome misfortune as a chance to build inner steel. Imagine a blacksmith who glazes a blade in flame and then shatters it to weld it right again, forging a sword stronger than before. Each failure is that breakage, Each repair a chance to temper resolve until it shines. Ask yourself today, when you face a setback, will you recoil into despair? Or will you lean into the cracks until they widen into your way forward? Embrace the fall as part of the climb. Let every bruise whisper of lessons learned. In the echoes of defeat you will hear the forge of your own becoming. Do you ever feel your core tremble when others judge you? As if their words carve gaps in your armor. When you face criticism, your chest tightens and doubt floods in. Psychologist Mark Leary's sociometer theory in 1995 showed that our self-worth rides on how we think others see us, making each harsh word echo louder than any self-belief. Rejection pricks us deeper than praise uplifts, pulling us towards safety in the crowd rather than strength in solitude. Stoics held that true security springs from within. Epictetus reminded us that it's not what you endure, but how you interpret it that shapes your spirit. Picture a lone oak standing against winds that uproot weaker saplings. Its strength comes from deep roots, not from swaying with every gust of public opinion. When you quiet your mind to see criticism as mere commentary, not command, you reclaim your center. Psychologist Roy Baumeister in 2003 found that those who detach from others' judgments preserve their focus and energy, growing more resilient with each perceived slight. Obsession over approval drains your resolve. Indifference to noise sharpens it. Ask yourself today, will you let every word pull you off course? Or will you stand with spine straight, eyes forward, letting each barb roll off like rain on a polished blade? Embrace the silence between opinion and reaction as your forge. In that stillness you find the calm that no chorus of voices can shatter. Do you ever watch the clock as if it's a thief? Feeling procrastination steal your moments while regret waits in the shadows of each tick. Each time you delay the hard task, your mind hides behind small comforts, extra scrolls, idle breaks, excuses that whisper later. Behavioral economists call this present bias. Leibson in 1997 showed, we value now far more than tomorrow. And Zygarnik's 1927 work found that unfinished tasks bruise our focus, niggling at us like a wound that won't heal. Stoics taught that time is our only true possession, and every second is a chance to shape our character. Picture a stream of water pounding at a cliff, not in one mighty wave, but drop by drop until the stone yields. Each moment you seize chisels a sharper mind. Each delay leaves a dull edge. Ask yourself today, will you let minutes scatter like leaves in a storm? Or will you gather them into your hand and forge a day of purpose? Embrace each fleeting moment as your ally sets small goals. Strike once and then again, until momentum obscures the whisper of wasted time and reveals the power held in your grasp. Have you ever stared at the dim light of your last hour and felt a sting at the thought of dreams left undone? When life wins down, regret can burn brighter than any triumph. Brawny Ware in 2012 found that on their deathbeds, people most often mourn the chances they never took, the truths they never spoke, and the passions they let die. Comfort seldom tops their list of memories, yet inaction etches the deepest scars. Stoics taught us to embrace our final act before it arrives. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we should live each day as though it were our last, not to chase drama, but to sharpen purpose. Picture a torch held high against a dark sky each choice you make. Before the flame sputters guides the path for those who follow. When you lean into your own ending, you clear the fog of doubt and cut straight to what matters. Viktor Frankl argued in 1946 that finding meaning even in suffering gives us the strength to endure, but only if we face our mortality with open eyes. Your final chapter isn't written by fate, but by the bold strokes of your will. Ask yourself today, will you guard your light until the very end, or will you let it die in smoldering ashes of what if? Embrace every moment as your last ember, feed it with purpose, and ride it out until nothing remains but a glow that proves you burned fully alive.